if you want real musicians to be playing your piece, you want live music, and you need someone to actually understand this music that you've created in your digital audio workstation, then you're going to need to export this as sheet music. So let's describe how to do that here. The recommendation that I have is using MuseScore, which is a free open source software you can download. And this will translate the notes, the MIDI notes that you've created in your software, and turn it into sheet music that a musician can then read from and play it. So a few things you need to do before you can actually get the sheet music. First of all, you need to plan for it in the beginning. And when I say that, I mean that sheet music will always start at bar 0. And it will, or bar 0, bar 1, and it will move upwards from there. In your digital audio workstation, we sometimes get in the habit of starting our patterns at positions that are not always bar 0. And if you're planning to export a sheet music, you need to start your music at bar 0, because your music will always start in this beginning, and it will adjust everything else to the point 0, which will mess up all the timing. If I didn't want this to come in here, I wanted it to come in here, what I need to do is add in this empty space before my music starts. So just keep that in mind, and this is something that you'll need to plan for. So now in your digital audio workstation, let's export these MIDI notes. If you're not using FL Studio, the steps will be a little different, but the idea is the same. Go into whatever piano roll or system that you have for exporting, and select File, Export as MIDI file. I'll save this as that for now. Now in MuseScore, what we can do is we can create a new project. And you can choose the type of score that you want to use. In this case, I will just pick classical orchestra. I'll choose the scale that I'm using. And I'll identify what kind of time signature, how many beats per bar, and so on, and select Finish. And now what it's done is it's actually created a sheet music template that I can now add notes to. So it has all, in this case, since I chose the classical orchestra template, I have all of the instruments that I might want to use ready to go. And you can always adjust any of these, add them, take them away, and so on. And now I'm going to import the MIDI notes that I just created in my digital audio workstation. So you'll see that it's opened it up in a new score, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. I can just select the notes, hit Control-C to copy, go into my actual score, select the instrument that I want to paste into, Control-V to paste, and there we have it. I now have added in the notes from my digital audio workstation. It's that easy. So once you're in here, you can then add in whatever articulations you want just by dragging and dropping. You can add in some different dynamics and so on. And you can do that for the entire score for all of the instruments, because this doesn't have any of the dynamic changes that you had in your software. It's not going to include any of the velocity, any of the expression, any of the volume changes. You're going to have to do that again, because all it did was import the MIDI notes, but not any of the other information. Okay, so now we can export this when we're done adding everything. And I will export this. Sure, I'll call this my score for now. And now I can open this up as sheet music, and I can see the notes that I've just created, as well as the dynamics and so on. And a musician can then take a look at this if there's a violin player. I mean, this probably isn't that realistic, But the idea should make sense. They will then be able to say, okay, I understand the treble clef, I see the scale, I see the timing, these are the notes that I need to play, and they can go from there. So this is how you can take your music outside of your digital audio workstation and give it to your musicians so they can play it.